Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to make a diffuser for the Camaro because in CAM-T diffusers are allowed and it does help aerodynamically, so we are going to make a diffuser. In case you don't know what a diffuser is, let me show you on the Pink Panther race car, which if you want to see any more information on the Pink Panther race car, it is, all those videos are on this channel as well. There's a whole playlist for MGB and the Pink Panther. So anyways, let me flip this camera around and show you what I'm talking about. All right, so this is the Pink Panther and this is the back of the car. And that whole area there, that is what's called a diffuser. So basically what's happening is this spoiler creates a giant vacuum behind the car. And the diffuser acts as a smooth transition from the underside of the car for the air to come up and fill that vacuum. And it basically sucks the car to the ground. That's long and the short of it. It means there's less pressure on the underside of the car than there is on the top side of the car, which pushes the car down. So that is a carbon fiber diffuser that I built for the Pink Panther. And it's not pretty, but it is light and it really works. So hopefully I can make an attractive version for the Camaro, because obviously the Camaro, a little higher standards as far as appearance goes. So yeah, that's the Pink Panther. So anyways, let me show you how I made that big block of foam right there, and then we'll go over why I'm making the foam block. Okay, so let's further the making of this diffuser. Now, I'm using a lavalier mic. I hope this all works out, otherwise I'm gonna have to reshoot this video. But anyways, what you see here is my big slab of foam. And they're all glued together with that glue, as you saw. And this here on the end, this is the shape that I want it to be. So I have this at either end. I have a plywood, the shape that I want it to be, and I am going to build myself a hot wire cutter, and then we're going to use that to cut the shape, and hopefully it works most excellent. So let's give that a try and see if my hot wire cutter, my homemade hot wire cutter, will work. Okay, so the lavalier mic has failed, so now I have to do a voiceover for the next two videos that I have here. So this is the form, and the form is 44 inches at the front where it's going to be under the car, and then it's 54 inches at the back of the car. So it's angled, it's angled a little differently there. And hopefully the hot wire is going to follow the form around. This is the hot wire cutter here, the homemade hot wire cutter, and the wire is called nichrome, and it's a special wire that can get really hot without self-destructing. And I made the hot wire cutter adjustable for length, and I used a piece of wood there on either side so it was insulated. And for the power, we're going to use my welder. So the welder has adjustable voltage. It seems to be in about the right voltage range. I did a little bit of an experiment and it seems like it's going to work. So this will be the first time trying it out for real on the big piece of foam, and fingers crossed that it works. So here Nick and I are using the hot wire cutter, and it seems to be working pretty good. We tried different heat ranges on the welder to get the one that was ideal and just followed it around, and I was amazed. Like at the end when we pull the top off the cut part, I was so excited. Like right there, that was such a good feeling moment. Okay, so I've smoothed out the entire mold, and for the divots and stuff, I discovered that using this stuff, this what is it now? It is a acrylic latex filler that you can fill holes or any kind of cracks in this kind of foam with this stuff, and when it dries you can sand it, and this doesn't affect the foam at all. So I discovered that, and I covered the whole entire thing in tuck tape. So it's all covered in tuck tape, and that is going to act as a release for the resin. When I put the resin and the carbon fiber on here, this is slippery enough stuff that's going to release it. I'm still going to put wax on it. I have done it without the wax, and it has worked. But that was always with molds that I didn't care if they got damaged in the taking apart process. This one I actually want to save, just in case I want to make more or modify the diffuser. So this one, I got the tuck tape, and I'm going to put wax over top of this. And I need to cut out the carbon fiber, and I think I'm going to put a layer of Kevlar in there as well, and then bag it. That's the plan. All right, and the products I'm going to be using, the carbon fiber I'm going to be using, is this 3K plain weave carbon fiber fabric from Fiberglass. And I'm going to put a layer of the Kevlar in there too. Somewhere mixed in there is going to be a layer of Kevlar. I'm going to do as many layers of this as what I have product for. I have 5 yards of that. So I should be able to do, 4 layers. I'm going to put some stiffeners in it too. I'm going to use some of this foam. This is a thin foam designed for projects like this. I'm going to put some strips of that across this way to keep it from being floppy. It's not going to be floppy in this direction because it's got this curving down, but the other way it could be floppy. So I'm going to put some strips across there in between the layers, but we'll go over that as we do it. And I just discovered that the massive bags that I have are not quite big enough for this. So I'm going to have to figure out a different way of vacuum bagging this, but I'll figure that out. I don't think that's going to be such a big issue, but what I'm going to need is a big piece of aluminum or something, like aluminum sheet, to put it down on, and then do a whole thing of plastic around it. But I'll get to that later. But right now I'm just going to cut out this stuff so I'm all ready to go. Once I have the bag ready to go and everything else, I can just lay the epoxy out, or the resin out, and start laying this stuff down. Okay, so I have coated the entire surface of the mold with this Meguiar's Gold Class wax, a couple of layers of that, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray that adhesive over the mold, that 3M77 adhesive. I'm going to spray that over the mold, and I'm going to spray it on the first layer of the carbon fiber fabric as well, and then lay that down, and that's going to be the layer that everybody's going to see. So that's the one that has to be perfect. Okay, we're putting that piece of carbon fiber over top of this. This has got adhesive on it. And that has adhesive on it. The adhesive is on this side, so we need to flip it over. And this is the layer that everybody's going to see, so it needs to be laid on there perfect.
Yeah. down on my side?
Yeah, all the way down to the side, edge on your side. Come on. Reinforcement here. Good. Well, the initial plan to have a piece of plastic with that yellow sticky stuff around and then another layer of plastic over top, that didn't work out. We couldn't get a vacuum out of it. So we took two giant bags. I have these giant plastic bags that aren't quite enough to go over it. And we put it in, one bag over it and then another bag going the other way to try to build a vacuum. And it was building a tiny bit of vacuum, but not enough. And so we started covering it in tuck tape. And as you can see, it's entirely covered in tuck tape now. And it's still not building enough of a vacuum. So I don't know what else I can do. I guess we just sit and wait for the next 2-3 hours and see what happens. Okay, today's the day. It's the next day actually. I left them overnight because it was pretty cold in here yesterday with all the carts running and all the cold air coming in because it's very cold outside. And the cold slows down the curing process. So I just left it overnight. And let's cut her open and see if this is a disaster or if it actually worked. Does anybody know if you can reuse this peel ply? Because it all still looks, well, maybe not. It seemed like it was undamaged, like maybe I could reuse it. Okay, so far it's looking not bad. I think I need to, at least the top side of it, I'll do a close-up later. I think I'll need to like sand it, maybe go over with the dual action sander. All right, see how easily it's gonna pop off of this. Lost me. My gimbal with the face recognition lost me somewhere. Anyways, I gotta do a little bit of trimming to make it easier to pop off of the mold. So I'm gonna do that off camera and then we'll come back. Okay, I trimmed it all around the edges to make it easier to pop off. It's where it's wrapped around that it makes it super difficult. So I just trimmed that off. And let's hope this peels off now. There we go. Oh, look at that. Well, it worked. Let's get a close-up of this. Okay, so I'll clearly have to sand these little ridges. I don't even know how those form, but anyways, I think I can sand those out. And the underside, yeah, I think I can sand that all out of there and then trim it. I'll have to trim it because it needs to be trimmed at an angle like that, like as it goes down towards, this would be the front of the car, that's the front of the car. So it'll need to be trimmed down. But let's go put it out where we can take a proper look at it. I'll trim it once I have it on the car so that I have the exact angle. So at the bottom, the sides can, hey, that's pretty good. It's pretty stiff too. I think that's going to be strong enough. So I'm not sure if I'm going to put center strakes in it yet. I might yet do that. That'll be like basically doing this with a smaller section and then bonding it in that way. That's how that's going to be. So anyways, all right, it's off to a good start. So it turned out that I didn't leave enough space between the diffuser and the tires. Like the front of the diffuser isn't quite narrow enough. It gets too close. It doesn't touch the tires. It's too close. So I think under heavy cornering, the tire would actually rub it. So I am going to do a redesign of the diffuser. And well, let me turn the camera around and show you. All right, so here we are in the car. I already made brackets that go from this spot here down to the diffuser, so you can see it would hold it like that. Anyways, and then, you know, I would have to trim it there going back. So, but I didn't leave enough space. It's too close. So I'm gonna build it again. Here's my mold. You see I got a little cutout there, and that's gonna help it to form around the fuel tank there. You can see the fuel tank. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a redesign, and I'm gonna narrow the front end up to get it between the tires. But I don't need to show you that whole process because it's exactly the same as what I've already done, just a slight redesign. But you get the idea of how to build a fiberglass or a carbon fiber diffuser. I am going to probably make the next one out of fiberglass because it is a fraction of the cost of the carbon fiber. Make sure it all fits, make sure it's cool, and then do a final version out of carbon. Or I'll take the fiberglass one and cover it in carbon, which would make it stiffer and also look better. So anyways, so yeah, didn't quite work out. And you know, on this car, honestly, diffuser doesn't look good. It would be totally functional. It'll totally be faster around the track, but driving around town like this, doesn't look good. So it would be it would go on for nationals only kind of dealio. But anyway, yep. So I'm gonna close out the video here. Thanks everybody for watching. It's been awesome. Spring is here, or it feels like it's gonna be here any moment, and we're gonna get the car back on the road, and we're gonna start posting videos from competition and from you know, these big race events. Like it's going to Lincoln, Nebraska this year. I'm super excited about it. And guess what? Bridget says she's driving the car at Spring Nationals. So this will be the first time that another human being has driven the car since I built it. So very excited for that. So anyways, keep an eye out for the next one, and we'll see you then.